Hello, welcome to another cosplay progress time-lapse thing. I'ma just get right into this. I'm gonna attempt to do a one-day build. You're gonna fail immediately. Nope. Of a cosplay that I'm making for Halloween. Or maybe like a 1.5 day build because I forgot to buy the zipper. I'm gonna sew all day today and hopefully I will finish it by the end of the day and get a zipper later. Am I out of it? Am I out? Is it? No. So here are all my supplies. I have 3 yards of white bridal fabric, 3/4 yards of belt fabric, a half a yard of lace, a half a yard of gray, a yard of the nice blue stretchy fabric for the sleeves and the undershirt, and then a half yard of this pretty sequins stuff. So yeah, there are all my supplies and my cat. I also have some extra stuff that I got in Walmart's discount section to help make a pattern for it. And pictures! Again, reference pictures! So I clearly couldn't do this in one day. It was way too hard and I just got tired and bored and decided to go and watch YouTube instead. Right now I'm just laying out my test fabric to make sure it's the same size and measuring my leg so I know how long I want the skirt piece. I measured from my waist to like almost to the bottom of my leg. When I measured my side, I went for 29 inches because I thought that was good. Oh, my cat, he's in the way. I feel so bad. Oh no, no baby. My test pattern fabric was 2 yards. So from each end I did 29 inches. And I did that from 3 sides so I can get just the shape of the skirt. From there, I just kept folding it in half again and again. That way I could get kind of that nice curve from the bottom of the skirt and just cut off that huge chunk of an end. And then the waist piece. So now I'm just pinning the side. That way I can kind of try it on. So I pin the side of the skirt and then kind of put it around me to see if I like the length and kind of the flowiness of it. This cosplay gave me a lot of trouble because first of all, I didn't get enough fabric for this. I only got 3 yards of the bridal white fabric and I needed way more for what I was doing. And I'm just sitting there like contemplating how I'm gonna map out the skirt, and I made that skirt in a really jacked up way, so I don't recommend doing it this way, but this is just how I did it, and even in the end it still came out okay. It's real messed up. I was trying to figure out the best way to lay it down, that way I'd have the most skirt space. So I pinned the whole side together, the side that was totally messed up, and put it on just so I could see how it looked again, because I need to keep on reassuring myself how it looks. But I knew I wasn't gonna have enough fabric to do like a whole circle skirt. So I've like given up. I don't know what I'm doing. I thought I wanted a circle skirt. I just want it to flow like it does in the anime opening, which is like, you know? But now I need to go find, what is this? A 36-inch pot that's the circle of my waist, so I can just like lay it on the fabric and then do like the skirt around it, because that makes more sense to me than just like drawing it out. I don't know. I found a pot. This is like a 39, so it's bigger than my waist, but I want it to be bigger anyway to give it that weird little cinch side, so yeah. I don't know what my problem is with measuring things, but I find it so much easier to find like an object that's the measurement that I like and then tracing it out, because it helps me visualize things better and I just find it so much easier. The pot ended up giving me issues, so I just decided to trace it out and then make kind of a paper pattern of the pot. After laying down my horrible skirt pattern, I'm mapping out where I want it with the pencil, making sure that the left and right sides are 29 inches long and that from the middle point it's 29 inches length in the middle. and then tracing out the circle pattern. Oh, here we go. First mistake of making this. I folded it in half and I was like, okay, I'll make a circle skirt. I'll just stop where the other part folds around. So that way I'll still have part of it. It'll just, the back part's gonna be weird and I'll just sew the back part. It worked out in the end, but like, oh, that pattern piece looks so messed up. It looks so messed up. Look at that. Look, what are you doing? Stop. Oh, it's gonna be weird. There's not enough fabric for this. Oh, watching myself do this is so awful. So I did the same thing with the pattern piece, just folding it over again and again, and then attempting to cut off the edge. It came out all scalloped and weird, so I just cut the edges off and then did the same thing to the other side. As you can see, the back, there's just huge opening in the back. So I'm measuring out the 29 inches to try to find that middle point in it. Because once I can find the middle point, then I'll know all of the edges match. It never ended up matching in the end. But the flowiness kind of covered it. So I was like, okay, it'll just hide in the side of it. Look at that. It just keeps, it flows right up on the side. Just awful, just awful. So I kept pinning it in a diagonal again and again to try to find that awkward middle point, kept bringing it back to the mannequin because I was so determined to like fit the pieces and make sure that it worked. See, there we go. That one's not that bad. See, I got it eventually. Here we go. Next part. This right here. This is why I wanted to do a one-day build. You can see me wearing pajamas. I clearly given up. I wore a dress so it would be easier to take everything on and off, and I braided my hair. That way when I tried things on, I wouldn't get pins stuck in my fluffy hair. I had a plan in the beginning. Like, I've given up. So I found a shirt that I liked the fit of and basically traced out the shirt on the skirt pattern because I didn't want to waste my terrible pattern fabric, and I just cut out the shape of that shirt. I pinned the tops and the sides together and put it on myself, and I put it on and drew out where I wanted everything to be and just did like little notches of where I wanted it and then cut them off. So after I cut them off and readjusted all the pins, I pinned it on my mannequin just to see how it looked, and then decided to draw more lines to deepen the neck part. I cut down the middle of the back for the zipper part, and then I recut the neck part deeper. And then I started to test out where I wanted the darts to go in the front. Just repinning on my mannequin, making sure it looks nice. I decided I liked it, so now it was time to cut out the nice white fabric. This is my terrible pattern for the back piece. The armhole, shoulder, neck, back where the zipper goes, and then this part. I drew a little bit of a dotted line, a little bit for seam allowance. This part was already too big, so I didn't do that big of a spot because I knew I already had enough seam allowance. Top, around the neck, and then just a little bit more on the back for the zipper part, and then I added extra down here because I didn't know how much I was gonna need, and I was like, forget it, I'll just make it bigger. So what I plan to do now is I'm just gonna cut this section out and then flip it over to get the opposite side for the back piece, and then I will do the front piece. For this cosplay, I was trying harder than I usually do to save fabric, because usually I cut out spaces wherever I want, and I'm like, that's good, but I thought I would at least attempt to save fabric this time. Okay, so here's this one, and I kind of messed myself up right there because now I can't go over the edge, but it's fine. Just drawing a line on there, not that much here because again I already had this base, and then a line over here, and then a little bit more on the bottom because this one was kind of longer, but I'm just gonna cut half of it and fold it over to make sure both sides are symmetrical. Yeah, when I cut half of it and folded it over, it was not at all like the pattern piece I had made. It was somehow bigger and somehow smaller than the original piece. But whatever, sometimes that happens, it's okay. So I finally figured out where I wanted to cut the skirt piece, and I just did it because I was like, now or never. Okay, so this is the skirt. I don't know what happened. Just like, it looks okay when I pinned it on the mannequin, but now that I'm looking at it, I'm like, this looks like so jacked up. I mean, I can totally fix the edges when I go around and just make them even, but like, that right there, that's great. Just, you know what, don't question it, just believe in the me that believes in me. Here are all of the top pieces. See, they look a little bit jacked too, but I mean, oh no. I hate ironing so much. And I know I should iron the fabric before I start cutting it out. That way I can get, you know, better patterns, better measurements, stuff like that. I hate ironing. It gets so hot and I get so irritated. So I always iron after I cut everything out because I'm dreading that part. There were 2 fold lines on the skirt that were really hard to get out, and even after I'd ironed them, you can still kind of see them, and I just kept spraying water on it and ironing over it, but I got a good majority of the dent out. And then just ironing the top pieces. So here is the first test of the top pieces, just pinning them together, and then pinning the zipper onto the back, and seeing how it fit on the mannequin. And then I thought, I can wear it. I'll try it. I put it on. It fits nice. I mean, the back's a little bit bunchy, but there's gonna be like little things right here. I put it on and there's pins all on it, so I'm kind of like stuck in it. From end to end, it's 21.5. So I got the middle of it, which was 10.5, 10 3/4. I was gonna say 10.5 and a little bit, 10 3/4. Then I got the half of that again, and now I'm going to attempt to make the 2 sharp things. Whatever they're called, I don't know. Darts, they're called darts. They're darts. I had to look this up. I'm not very good when it comes to sewing terms, but oh, Premiere Pro is finally broken down at the end of the darts, so great. Oh my goodness, we're back, and right after my weird measurement of darts. Here we go. Wow, I am taking a really long time to measure out where I want these darts. I measured about 6 inches up and pinned them together, and now pinning together the side of that awful skirt. What have you done? Think about your decisions. We've made it to the first sewing machine part. I'm going right on the edge of the presser foot at a 4 and sewing the edge of the skirt. And then going over the same seam at a 10 with the zigzag line. I don't have that machine that finishes your stitches, but I just do this. It kind of helps not let the fabric fray away. Cutting off all the extra stuff. We've landed on another mistake. I decided to sew ease lines on the skirt because I thought the skirt was gonna end up being bigger than the top part. It wasn't. These lines were not needed at all. I didn't have to ease the skirt at all. If anything, it just helped the skirt stop stretching with the natural stretch of the fabric after I cut it. Terrible idea. Terrible idea. They're now sewing the dart lines at a 4 again. So I looked up a good way to sew dart lines, just to stop right before you get to your point and then to curve out towards the edge. It helps get a better looking dart so you don't kind of like pucker or bubble at the very edge. And I zoomed in a little bit so you could see that like after I got to the point, I kind of just went up and got as close as I could to the line or to the folded edge. Come on, you focus. There we go. I sewed a couple stitches against the fold line before I actually capped it off. Here we go, the sleeves. Oh, sleeves took so much time and effort. So I measured from my shoulder down to like halfway between, my shoulder and my elbow, because that seemed to be how long her sleeves were. And then I measured out evenly 4 pieces and cut them all. Now, I didn't get enough gray fabric either, because I just can never get enough fabric whenever I'm making anything. So this time I ironed it before I cut out my pieces, that way I knew I had enough. I didn't have enough. And I ironed my pattern pieces for the sleeves. Here I am pinning the sides and the top shoulder pieces to sew together, and then sewing all those together right on the edge of the presser foot at a 4 again. And then going over all of them with the zigzag stitch to finish the edges. I went in my closet again and found a tight-fitting stretchy shirt that fit me very well, and then used that as the pattern for the arm pieces. Now, I wasn't sure whether or not the sleeves were attached to the actual dress, and I think they were, but I didn't want to attach them to the big ruffle sleeves because then it would pull out at the top and you would kind of see it wasn't tight. So I wanted to make a separate undershirt underneath where I could attach the lace that was at the top on the neck part of the dress. So cutting out 2 arms. And then I found my Totoro dress, which I thought would be perfect for the undershirt, and just did the same thing. It was tight fitting and stretchy, so I just traced it out and cut that out. After that, I took the 4 pieces for the sleeve. Now I did this with a stretchy fabric because I needed a base to sew all of the gray ruffles onto. So I decided to use the stretchy purple blue fabric to make an undersleeve. That way they would all be sewn onto that piece. There wasn't an even amount of fabric for this, so I just kind of found 2 spots where I could do 2 instead of just one big piece that folded over. And then pinning the sides of the sleeves together, and then pinning the sides of the shirt and the tops and then the sleeves together. So because it's stretchy fabric, I am pulling both ends at the same time, that way it stays stretchy. This is right on the end of the presser foot. So I sewed all those pieces together and then went back with the zigzag stitch to finish the edges. And then I tried it on my arm and it fits so nice. It was so tight and comfy. So now I am pinning the entire bottom edge of the undershirt piece. And I'm sure there's an easier way to do this, but usually when I do this, I just fold it over once, pin it all, and then slowly fold it over the second time and then repin it. And then I sewed that right inside of that little gap, as you can see. And again, stretching as I go. So here's a little small video. Those are the bases for the ruffle sleeves, and then the sleeves and the shirt part. And I laid it all out so I could take a picture. The neck part I did last. Oh, train wreck. Next part, pinning the sleeves on. Then sewing the sleeves right at the end of the presser foot again. And then going back to finish the lines. Oh my gosh, in a video. Me wearing it. So, oh thank God the shirt's back on. So I thought I wasn't gonna need, a whole shirt. I just needed it to be, a small undershirt part. So I put it on and I measured out where I wanted it, because on her arm it falls right in between the wrist and the elbow. So I mapped it out and then cut both of the pieces. We've made it to the lace sleeves. So this took me a little bit to figure out how much I wanted and how much I wanted in the fold over part. I kept pinning it over and over because I couldn't decide, and then wrapping it around my arm to see how much was good. So once I got the right size, I sewed the 2 edges of the lace together first before I sewed them onto the sleeves. And then just pinning them onto both of the sleeves on the outside. And then I went in and just sewed the lace to the sleeves first before I did the fold over for the outside stitch. There, so now I am folding it over and repinning it. Same as the bottom of the shirt, I'm going right in on the inner oval thing of the presser foot and stretching as I sew. So I did that for both pieces, and then sewed that sleeve base that I had to cut 2 of instead of 1 of for the ruffles. Okay, I'm gonna cap it off here and save the rest for another video. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask me, and thank you so much for watching!